morning. We're about to begin a service of celebration of life for Margaret Kury. Just before we begin, let me draw to your attention that there are exits here, 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 and here. The washrooms are here and here, but also at this door. Following the entry of the honor guard, we'll remain standing for the singing of O Canada. Those of you who know Margaret will understand that. And now will you stand for the entry of the honor? Let's sing.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, through patriot love, in all our sons command, with glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Friends, we are united today by a common sorrow, a common affection, and a common hope. We've come together to give thanks for the life of Margaret Rose Pazarena Kury, to remember the ways her life touched ours, and to entrust her into the keeping of God. We have also come to share the sorrow of those who mourn, and to offer them our love and support. With such faith as each may enjoy, let us lift our hearts to God, expecting a blessing of strength and peace, and we'll begin by rehearsing the story of Margaret's life as told by her sons and then by others. Please be seated. Glenn. Yeah.
We gathered here today to remember and celebrate the life of Margaret Kury, or as I know her, Mom. Margaret was a wife, mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, sister, aunt, and friend to many. I would like to share with you the story of the most inspiring individual I have ever known. Margaret Rose Kury was born on March 31st, 1940, right here in Maple Ridge. I remember her family home well, on Duty Truck Road, filled with fruit trees, and her father's award-winning Gaelic, which had been handed down from his father before him. She graduated from Maple Ridge High School in 1958. From there, she joined the RCAF Airwomen at Seagull Row and served until 1961 as a machine accounting operator. After her 3-year stint in the military, she married her first husband, Peter Kury, and moved as he was transferred, first to Vancouver, then to Comox, where they built a House of Verbal, and then finally Washington. Margaret and Peter had 4 children, Brett, Lauren, Todd, and Glenn. Margaret was always there for her kids through thick and thin. She was always firm but fair. Not everyone got the fair part though, as she had quite the reputation of firm. We always joked that she bought wooden spoons in bulk. Other parents in the neighborhood would tell their kids that if they kept misbehaving, they would send them to Mrs. Kury's place. They would behave from that point forward. She had the nickname of Black Mariah, which she got quite a kick of. In 1970, when her father passed away, she inherited his collection of daily bulbs, which became her passion, as did gardening in general. After Margaret and Peter separated in 1974, Margaret moved back to Maple Ridge and became an active member of the Legion in 1976, as she felt it was the right thing to do for the ex-military. She kept her last name as Kury for her kids' sake. Margaret met the late Larry Harrison in 1992 and later married him in 2008. During their 22 years together, they were like 2 peas in a pod, inseparable. Margaret stayed by Larry throughout his battles with health and was by his side when he finally passed away peacefully in 2014. He was her hero, as she was his. Her favorite activities were gardening, reading, listening to music, and anything to do with religion. She was not averse to philanthropy. With her husband Larry, they established a bursary at Douglas College in 2001 to support the further education of Ridge Meadows students. They had been supporters of the college since 1992, donating money in the name of her late father, James Pazarena. Margaret had 4 favorite charities, for which she did, let's say, assertive fundraising, as many of you here can attest. They were the CIBC Run for the Cure, the Heart and Stroke Foundation, the Big I Cry, the Do It for Dad Prostate Cancer Foundation Run, where she spent every Father's Day and was regularly one of the highest individual fundraisers. She could easily be recognized with her colored wig and cuckoo clothes. And the Ridge Meadows Hospital Foundation. In just 8 years' time, she personally raised over $200,000 for these great causes and had fun doing it. Her volunteering efforts included being the treasurer of the local Air Cadet Squadron in the 90s, Maple Ridge Christmas Hamper Society, Maple Ridge Food Bank. She regularly spoke to school children about the importance of Remembrance Day. She served on a committee to revitalize the town center and Memorial Peace Park. She served on the capital campaign committee for the expansion of Ridge Meadows Hospital. The Variety Club Telethon for over 25 years, where she received an Angel Award. The St. John Ambulance Brigade for 20 years, where she was named Serving Sister in 2005. And volunteering for the Canadian Blood Services for over 30 years. She was always involved in community efforts and committees, including being a charter member of the Ridge Meadows Ex-Service Women's Club, a member of Adopt a Block, was on the Canada Day Planning Committee since 2001, was MC for Canada Day since 2009, and led the Remembrance Day ceremonies for 15 years, as long as it was done her way. As far as awards, there was no shortage of those either. She was accepted to the Order of St. Andrew's Painting in 2006. She was Maple Ridge Citizen of the Year in 2008. She was a finalist for Outstanding Philanthropist with Larry in 2009. She received the Veterans Affairs Commendation in 2010 in Ottawa, and received the Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee Medal in 2012. Last, but certainly not least, was her involvement in her treasured Legion branch number 88, where she served on every Legion committee at some point, was a 3-term president as well as several other executive positions. Margaret was awarded a lifetime membership in 1996, a Meritorious Service Medal in 2002, and a Palm Leaf to the MSM in 2012. It was a great struggle for her to release some of her duties as she fell ill last year, and took some serious prodding to convince her that it was in the best interest of the Legion for her to start passing the this way, she could teach her replacement the Margaret way of doing things, which we all knew was the best way, so she told me. She truly was, and still is, in all our minds and hearts, a remarkable and unique individual. As individuals, we all have a defining moment in our lives, a moment that shapes our future or determines our fate. My mom did not have a defining moment. She had a defining life. With all her efforts in the community, whether it's serving on a committee, giving talks to children, or fundraising efforts, she helped give others their defining moment as well. She provided opportunities for those around her to succeed and to thrive. If not for her, I can safely say I would not be the person I am today. She taught me humility. She taught me humanity. She taught me how to thrive in a world that sometimes felt like it was working against me. In our daily morning chats, she just listened and supported. There was no judgment. She always gave her honest opinion if I asked for it. She prepared me. She was devoted. She was honorable. She was faithful. She was passionate. She was wise. She was yours.
Hi everybody, I feel much better when I'm holding this. Margaret was my friend, and she came to my wedding when I married my second husband, who is much better than the first. And he's sitting right there. And then she called me, not very long before she passed away. Excuse me. And she said, will you do me a favor? And I said, yes. But I thought her voice sounded a bit weak. She said, will you say that Larry's "Oh, thank you"? Thoughtful, just like your mom. She said, you sang at my mother's funeral, you sang at Larry's funeral, and I want you to sing at mine. I said, I didn't know you were ill. She said, well, I'm going into hospice. And she passed away just shortly after that. When she spoke to me, she said, I want you to sing The Rose. Well, I haven't sung The Rose for a long time, but anyway. And I said, well, that might be an objection. No, you have to do it a cappella. So here it goes, and I hope you'll join me when we come to the chorus. Thank you. You're okay sitting there? You're okay?
I believe I'm okay.
Okay, just checking. Some say love, it is a river that drowns the tender reed. Some say love, it is a razor that leaves your soul to bleed. Some say love, it is a hunger, an endless aching need. I say love, it is a flower, and you, its only seed. When the night has been too lonely, and the road has been too long, and you think that love is only for the lucky and the strong, just remember in the winter, far below the bitter snow, lies a seed that with the sun's love in the spring becomes the rose. May you rest in peace. She was a wonderful, wonderful woman.
There are a few more remembrances. Let's start with Todd, Brett, and Warren. And then following that, some ex-service women may have some words to say. And after that, it's open to you all. So.
Hi there, I'm Todd, number 3 son, as Mom would always number us. There's 50 years of memories I have, but I'd just like to share a couple of things that are stirring in my mind. I remember growing up, and Mom would get mad at one of us brothers for something, and she'd get all mixed up with the names, as we all do when we get older. And she'd go down the line and one Brett or Todd or whatever, and you couldn't laugh at her because it would just make things worse. It was just no good. Mom was so dedicated to my early childhood, with my baseball, and I just really thankful that she'd just drive me anywhere that I needed to go to play. She was just always there. She had a little 1973 Volkswagen Beetle. And once she crammed all 9 of us little leaves and we went to the Dairy Queen, just nothing fazed her. She was just always there. And last month, Mom and I had a really great visit and talk. And she said she was worried about something. And I asked her what it was she was thinking about. And I thought it was about me, but she said she was worried that she didn't make a difference in this life or with people. And I told her, I am who I am because of you. The strictness and stubbornness and discipline in my life comes from you. For the rest of my life, every time I do something around the house, like Mom does, I hear, okay, Margaret, Mom's name will never be forgotten from me. It's pretty obvious that every person in this room has been impacted by Mom's life. My children, Kyle and Amanda, were fortunate to have spent some summer times with their grandma and Larry. Mom didn't treat them any different than we got treated as kids. And I hope some stuff rubbed off from their grandma. I know it did for me. I'm not going to say goodbye to Mom. I'm just going to say thank you for everything you did and didn't do for me. I'm really going to miss you, Mom.
As some of you may know, I'm the number 1 son. Always have been, always will be. So you guys are just, that's how it goes. Great words by Joanne and by Todd. I followed it up with, expanded a little bit for everyone. First off, thanks for coming out and supporting us here and supporting family. And very little. There's going to be some little stories anyway. When we were a lot younger, living in the village of Murrayville, I remember looking at the dinner table place settings. I noticed there always seemed to be an extra utensil by Mom's plate. It was, of course, a big old wooden spoon. I remember thinking, what the heck would she need something like that for? Was she going to stir up the whipped potatoes for us? Maybe use it to stir up the horribly cubed turnip, which we despise? Anyways, I found out really quickly when I reached for a piece of bread before everyone had sat down. I swear I didn't see a thing at that moment, but it was a blur to me. In an instant, my right hand had a red mark on it, and a shot of pain ran up my arm. I was both shocked and amazed at the gunslinger speed to which Mom had administered that corrective punishment. She had barely flinched and just kept on with dinner as if nothing had happened. As both Glenn and Todd, I know this as well, Mom's reputation in the neighborhood where we grew up was legendary. Word of her parenting skills spread quickly, and she was feared by most of our childhood friends for miles around. I remember in particular
the Xerox brothers, Jim and Norman, were over playing with us in our yard. They were way too afraid to ask Mom to use the bathroom. So instead, they went behind the house to take a pee. Mom happened to pop out on the patio at that moment and saw what was going on. And she yelled, "Hey, what are you kids doing?" They were gone in a flash. Matt's still halfway down their ankles, running down the dirt road as if their lives depended on it. She was a tough parent, but very fair to us, and at the end of the day, we're all better people for it. One of Mom's favorite things to do every morning here in Maple Ridge was to go for her 4 or 5 kilometer walk with her good friend Claire. I'm sure that for most people, this walk would be for the purpose of staying healthy and doing a little exercise, but not for Mom. She was very much the Bruno Gerussi of ditch combing, and this is where she was at her scavenging best. She could be seen shopping for bottles and cans along the ditches of Maple Ridge, and to be honest, she was actually helping the city workers with their cleanup of the roads. Some of the stuff she found while on her route was quite remarkable. For example, tennis balls, golf balls, shoes, tons of clothing, a cell phone, believe it or not, a chainsaw, a bicycle, tools, liquor, boxes of beer, and piles of toys which are still piled up at her house. I don't know who's kind of giving those to, but anyway. She even found a brand new pair of work boots, which she offered to my brother Glenn. He was very convinced that she was actually shoplifting. Even though Mom didn't need the money, she was always very quick to brag to us that she had found about $5 worth of bottles and cans that day, and that was certainly a good haul for the day. At the end of the month, she always had enough for her and Larry to go out for dinner. Mom has always been forward and direct, and honest with her opinions and advice to her friends, colleagues, and of course her family. What you saw is what you got. Simple as that. And if you didn't like what she said, in her words, tough. Friends of mine have said that I'm somewhat competitive when it comes to games and sports. But I have to tell you, Mom was one of the most competitive persons I've ever known. We played a ton of cribbage and Scrabble games, and sometimes she got a little edgy if she was falling behind. She truly despised losing, especially to some snot-nosed son. And if she did lose, it was usually because someone was cheating, or she had something in her eye, or some other lame excuse. We've had some epic battles on the Scrabble board, and as late as 3 weeks before she left us, she was busy kicking my sorry ass and loving every second of it. She always got a sparkle in her eye when she knew you were done for, and I admired that in her because that's the way I am as well. I honestly don't know where she found the time to do all the fundraising and Legion events and meetings she did these last 30 plus years. But clearly it has made a difference in many people's lives, as we can see by the support here today. We can only hope to aspire to her level of achievement in our lifetime, because for her it was never enough, and it never should be. Mom, you're my shining star. I love you, rest in peace.
This is my son, Mason. This is something that my mom requested that he read today. It is an essay that my son wrote in grade 9. Who is your everyday hero? Have you ever read an exciting superhero comic book where the hero is always risking their life to save people from certain doom? You might think they are really brave, tough, and determined. However, not all heroes risk their lives to help people. Some might raise money for charity and simply stand up for someone. My everyday hero is my grandma, because she is persistent and determined to achieve any goal she sets. First of all, my grandma is 76 years old. It is not stopping her from getting out to work, in the garden, and going out for a walk. In fact, every Father's Day she participates in the walk for prostate cancer and usually gets second and third place for the most of her days. One big achievement that she has reached in the past is Citizen of the Year of the Rich. This shows how much she helps out in the community. My grandma is also quite brave and definitely tough. Recently, we found out that she has cancer located just outside her stomach, which will be her biggest and most challenging obstacle to overcome yet. In conclusion, my grandma is a very bold and persistent person, which I find very inspiring, and the biggest reason that I don't like to back down from the challenge.
I'm Warren. I'm the tallest son. And I always point that out. That's all I got. Anyhow, I cannot put into words the impact that Mom had not only on my life, but also on the countless individuals, organizations, and communities she was involved with over her lifetime. I ask all present to remember her by her selfless acts and endeavor to carry on her legacy by your actions and involvement with others. Mom was a leader by example, usually one of the first to volunteer to lend a helping hand to those in need. I have chosen to do this today by leading all willing to follow, both silently or out loud, and as one of her last wishes in the singing of a favorite song that she proudly sung at her RCAF functions. Before I start, though, I've been told, I've never heard my mom sing this song. I'm kind of going as I can. Some of the RCAF ladies have given me a little bit of guidance. But I'm also told that Mom was not Celine Dion. And I will also tell you that I'm not Michael Bublé. So, like I said, this was one of her last wishes, and I have to sing this song. Anyone that wants to join in, the words are written in your program there. Join in wherever you want to, keep it to yourself, or sing it out loud, whatever your choice is, okay? And again, I apologize, I've never heard this song sung before, so we may be a little bit out of sync, okay? We are the girls in the RCAF. We will be leaders by and by. For every girl in the RCAF is willing to do or die. We are the girls in the uniforms of blue, next to the army and the sea. If it wasn't for the girls in the RCAF, where would Canada be? Why, she'd be far behind the lines, far behind the lines. We are the girls, though we never fly the plane, but the pilots know we love them just the same. If it wasn't for the girls who are singing this refrain, we'd be far behind the lines. Picking them up, putting them down, picking them up, putting them down. Thank you.
Margaret would have to have had several drinks to have appreciated that. Oh, never mind. We refer to the barracks marching song as Margaret's song because she sang it on Remembrance Day here every year as her personal recognition of her time in the RCAF. There'll be many of you here today who want to honor Margaret for all she did for this community. And that is how it should be, for she touched many lives. But I would like to talk about a young woman and what it was like in the 1950s. A lot of us are high school graduates who were not going on to university and didn't have plans to marry right away. That's what didn't seem enough. We wanted something more. Then came the Cold War and NORAD, the DEW line and the Canada line to Pine Tree Line. Women were being recruited into the Royal Canadian Air Force. Even the name sounded exciting. Thousands of women from all across Canada enlisted during the years between 1951 and 1967. Margaret Pazarena, as she was known, joined up in 1958. She was offered training for exciting jobs in other parts of Canada, so she would travel, maybe even overseas. At her swearing-in ceremony, Margaret pledged allegiance to God and country. For her, those words would also come to mean community for the rest of her life. But those are your stories. Here was this adventurous young woman leaving home, probably for the first time on her own. Did she catch the CP train down at the Billy Miner? 3,000 miles to Quebec. Did she meet other women on her trip across the country who were doing the same thing? I bet she did. When they got to Saint Jean for basic training, all the usual things happened. The discipline of learning to salute, marching, and going on parade for everything. But also making friendships, life-lasting friendships. If you are ex-military, you will understand what I mean when I say the sisterhood of service women. No matter where you are, if you meet someone and you find them both in the military, the tone of your conversation, your body language changes. You have met a sister. That is how it is at our reunions. Whether you were in for 1 year or 30, you needed the reunions. It's like falling back in time. It was that way for Margaret. We have national reunions every 2 years held all across Canada. At all of them, you can find Margaret helping with registration or whatever needed done for the coming together of 300 or 400 ex-heroines. For many years here in the Fraser Valley, we held a fairly large reunion and potluck at Christmas time. Also several smaller lunches throughout the year, and of course our own Ridge Meadows meetings. Margaret is a founding member of Ridge Meadows ex-servicewomen. The group was organized with her and about a dozen WW2 ex-servicewomen, and grew to 60 plus at one time. She held us together for many years just by being in the room. We were sisters. We dissolved our separate formal meetings in April of this year. Our numbers had dwindled over the years to about 15. Now we meet once a month here at the ranch, have lunch, reminisce for a couple of hours, and go our separate ways. We are sisters. Margaret and I are social friends. We didn't travel the same routes except at reunions. We didn't do coffee in the 70s. We didn't meet for a drink after work in the 80s. Although we did belong to some of the same volunteer organizations over the years. But still, we knew each other. We could say things or make eye contact and have perfect understanding. It's tough now. So here we are today. The girls of the RCAF. The sisterhood. To honor and say goodbye to our sister Margaret.
We'll open the mic now, not to every human being here, I hope, but if there are one or two that have some important memories to share, you're now invited to come and do that.
expressing some of this. I will continue to be in awe of my aunt and what she has achieved, what she has gone, and I think is great. She will live in my heart forever. Rest in peace, my Auntie Margaret.
I'd like to share a story from the community. My name is Cheryl Ashley, and I have the pleasure of getting to know Margaret. Thank you for the clarification on the wooden spoon and the steely eyes, because that's the person I first met, and I actually left me quite frightened. But the woman I came to love and know was the one that we tell the story of. So I'm actually on the selection committee for Citizen of the Year. So in 2008, when Margaret was selected, I knew that because I was on the committee. And I was also at the event, setting up during the day for the names event, and in comes Margaret. And now we have to keep who is selected very secret. And I thought, I know she's resourceful, but how did she find out that she's a citizen and she's checking to make sure we're doing everything right for the event? Because I thought, I know I didn't tell, and I know the other people in the committee would tell, but there she was. So I said, Margaret, what are you doing here? And she said, oh, I'm checking out the venue because we're going to do our school reunion here. I said, oh, good. I said, well, you're probably going to go home and get ready because you're coming tonight, right? She said, no, I don't think I'll come. I said, what do you mean you're not going to come tonight? And I can't tell her she has to come because she's a citizen here. But you know, Margaret, if she's made up her mind, she's not coming. So now I'm thinking, how am I going to convince this woman without telling her she's citizen here? She has to come. And so we had a back and forth and that, and as she was leaving, I looked at her and I said, well, I did for you, Margaret, you could come tonight. And I don't really do much for her, but it must have meant something, because she came that night and rightly got that. But one of the things she said to me in our back and forth was that I don't need that type of stuff. And that is Margaret. Everything she did was not about Margaret. It was not because she felt she needed it. It was because she truly wanted to give back to the community. Margaret and I had an agreement every year because wherever I went, you know how she's very tenacious on getting those donations. So we had an agreement every year. She would just come to me and I would give her an envelope, and that was the money. So she didn't have to chase me down, but she chased down everybody. So I said, let's make it easy. You just come find me, I'll give you the envelope for the year, and you divide it up, and you'll just bring me my receipts. And she did. She divided that up, and quarterly I got my receipt for every one that she gave. So what I'd like all of you to do is to remember what she did, and charities are hurting today because what she did for them they will miss. So my commitment to Margaret is to have that envelope every year, and in her name I will continue to give, and I hope that you all do too, because she deserves that legacy to go on in our community. Thank you for this opportunity.
I want to give the last call. No takers? Oh, here we go.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jillian Margaret. I'm with the Heart and Stroke Foundation. And I was dreading actually coming out here because I do these speeches all the time, but Margaret was a very special person to me. I knew her, I worked with her for the last 12 years, and I think it was his third son that said he had that conversation with his mother about saying how she wanted to make sure she made a difference, or she didn't think she made a difference. Speaking as a charity, Margaret, I tallied up. I have a rough total because she kept some of those things close to her chest, and she did fundraising before I came into the picture, which is 2005. I did the rough calculation, and she raised over $100,000 for my charity, the Heart and Stroke Foundation alone. Now, that number sounds very impressive. It's very hard to get a donor, a fundraiser, to do that year after year. She called me in February and told me she wasn't going to do the big bike this year. And she said, I'm just dealing with the cancer and I just can't. And I said, okay, that's fine. I said, you've done enough. You've done so much. And then in April, she called me and said, wow, I got a check from the Legion And I'm like, that's fantastic. Thank you so much, Margaret. And she said, I really want to come to the ride. I can't ride, but I want to come. I'm like, okay, I will get you a ride there. I will get you a ride home. You just come. All the things that the sons have said resonate. She's taught me many, many things. I mean, I'm not family. I just knew from working with her. She's a very special woman. She cannot be replaced because people like her just don't exist. She was determined. She had a generosity of spirit. She was tough. She was awesome. And she came to that ride. She sat. She watched. She waved. We gave her some noisemakers. She had a great time. She also came. This is after telling me she's not going to participate. She came and was very, very proud to present me with $5,500, which blew us all away. She was very special, and I will miss her. And thank you for allowing us to share in that. I hope we resonate with what you said about charities, but as someone she stalked for her other charities, I will miss that. But the one important rule and piece of advice that she taught me, her lesson that she taught me, you just have to ask. That's it. She goes, if they don't want to donate, and this applies to life, you just have to ask. If they don't want to participate, whatever. But I'm going to go back and ask, and then they can tell me to go away. If they don't want to participate, she goes, they don't tell me to go away. So I give my deepest condolences to the family because I know she'll be very missed. And to everyone who enjoyed her as a friend and a colleague, I am with you in saying that we will miss her.
I just want to say one thing, that in all the 12 years that I knew Margaret, my name is Hazel, and I used to work at Belfast College. And yes, of course, she was all about philanthropy, and that as she gave a check, she was listening on because she asked to. But her crowning achievement and her biggest legacy and what she was most proud of were her 4 boys. And I think they know that, but she knew that too. And these last few months, in the conversations I had with her, that was what shone out of her. She had time with you boys in Whistler and other places, and she told me that she had said all the things that she wanted to say, and that she knew she was leaving behind 4 kids that were going to pull together and pass on her philosophies to their kids and their grandchildren. So congratulations, you had a fantastic mother, and she knew it, fantastic sons.
I'm going to speak for a moment with Alan. I used to be Pat Thompson, and I went to school with Margaret. So we've known each other. I'm very low here. I didn't mean to do that. I remember the boys as quite young rascals, and they taught my son some different things. Like he put my wooden spoon up in the tree. I don't know which of those boys taught him that, but it was probably Todd. They were over the age of we all play ball together, and Margaret and I did what we could to keep the baseball leagues going, and spent a lot of time at tournaments on the weekends and things like that. And then we belonged to the Women's Institute, and we did a skit. And she was also famous in her neighborhood for knowing how to cook and do things, just because she made 25 loaves of bread at a time or something. Anyway, these hippie folk down the street wanted to know how to get the chickens ready. They wanted to cook chicken dinners for their wives. And she went down to check on them and see how they were doing, and they were the chickens by the legs and treating them. They weren't about to put their hands inside. We made a bit of a skit out of that and had a great laugh at the Women's Institute. But we talk about all the things that Margaret has done since, and they're nothing short of wonderful. But when I look through my high school annual, Margaret belonged to just about every club. Alan and I went to school together as well. For those of you who don't know, Alan was a long-time friend, and between he and Margaret, they have organized our high school reunions. About every 5 years it's been like that. I look around and I know I saw Shirley out there. I don't recognize too many others. We miss Margaret for so many reasons. So pleased, so proud to know her. And I really enjoyed listening to the boys because they've grown up very well. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Margaret, and I'm the drum major of the Mission Pipe Band. I met Margaret originally in 1986 when I joined the Maple Ridge Legion Pipe Band, which in those days was under the command of the late Pipe Major Archie McCaffrey and Drum Major Bob Millen. Now, I must have picked up Margaret's ability to move up the ranks rather fast, because within 3 months of joining the band, I was promoted to bass drummer. Margaret, for many years, was a member of the Royal Canadian Legion of this branch's colour party, and if she was ever out of step in the late 80s, it was probably because of me. I remember Margaret for a number of things. First and foremost, for many years she worked with Bevan Board Whitehead, who were, in the late 80s, president of this branch of the Legion, and they coincidentally happened to be my sister-in-law's parents. And when my nieces were born, they were always wondering how they were doing. And when the family moved to the island and Bevan Gordon followed them, and our paths crossed periodically, she was always asking how they were doing and that sort of thing. And when Gordon passed away a couple of years ago, she was wondering how Bev was doing, and every time our paths crossed, she would always ask how the family was doing, and that to me was very, very touching. A couple of years ago, I was the MC for the Maple Ridge Santa Claus Parade, and I was very honoured to introduce the Royal Canadian Legion Colour Party, Branch 88, led by Sergeant-at-Arms Margaret Kury, and followed immediately by the combination of the Mission and Local Legion pipe bands. And it was always a privilege for me to lead the bands, with Margaret being 2 rows up in the colour party, and that was a privilege, and she became a very good friend to me. Thank you.
My name is Alan Aiken, and as Pat has indicated, I've known Margaret since high school days. We're both class of 58. And she asked me in her last days to conduct a Christian funeral service as part of the activities today. And I have always been one who had to be reminded of my contribution. So I knew it was time that I must say yes. So together we're going to ask that you join with me in prayer as we begin. Let's pray together. Gracious God, in whom we live and move and live, we open our lives to you. You know all about us. You know the pain and sorrow that we feel. Speak to us today the words we cannot speak to ourselves, words of courage, hope, and healing that you alone can give. We're counting on the tradition of Christian teaching to be helpful in this process. cannot have peace without a lot of forgiveness. God of mercy, whose loving kindness endures forever, we admit that often we have failed to receive and give love, to care for others as we care for ourselves, to pardon and to accept pardon. We remember good intentions that were not put into actions, harsh words that were hurtful, selfish purposes that caused pain, persistent pride that would not yield. We acknowledge our fear in the face of death and our failure to accept the hope you offer us in Christ. We ask God now to hear us as in a moment of silence we leave behind any things that may be a source of guilt and trouble to us. Gracious God, forgive us and help us to forgive others. Heal us from the pain of self-condemnation. Free us from the burden of failures that cannot be corrected. Renew us with your loving assurance that whatever we may have messed up is now being dealt with. I thought that only churches had that. I'm going to read a passage from the scriptures to you today, and it's not one that you expect, but it's one that commends itself to me. And it comes from a time when the children of Israel were kicked out of the country and had to go somewhere else. And of course, at a time like that, you have to decide, are we going to mix with the locals? Or are we going to tell them to get lost, we're who we are, and we don't want to have anything to do with it? From time to time, the Israelites followed both courses, but on this occasion, a prophet wrote them and said this. The prophet Jeremiah. He wrote a letter from downtown Jerusalem, and it said, "These are the words of the letter that the prophet Jeremiah sent from Jerusalem to the remaining elders among the exiles, and to the priests, the prophets, and all the people whom Nebuchadnezzar had taken into exile from Jerusalem to Babylon. This was after King Jeconiah and the queen mother, the court officials, the leaders of Judah and Jerusalem, the artisans and the smiths had departed from Jerusalem. It said, Thus says the Lord of hosts, God of Israel, to the exiles from whom I have sent into exile from Jerusalem to Babylon. Build houses and live in them. Plant gardens, eat what they produce. Take wives and have sons and daughters. Take wives for your sons and give your daughters in marriage that they may bear sons and daughters. Multiply there and do not decrease, but seek the welfare of the city where I have sent you into exile, and pray to the Lord on its behalf, for in its welfare you will find your welfare." I admit, not usual funeral reading stuff. But as I look back and forth from enriching biblical stories to the enriching life of Margaret, years later, they got the opposite advice. Circle the wagons, tell those people to get lost. We're better than they are. But Jeremiah didn't look at it that way at all. He took a different route. He said, hey, we're here. This is going to be home for a while. Let's build a home together with those who have always lived here. It's a spiritual response. The best way to build a life is to build it together with our neighbors. Jeremiah was cheeky enough to say that God told him to say that. And those who put together the Hebrew Bible, what we call the Old Testament, agreed with him and made it a part of the book. Margaret was raised under the influence of the Eastern Church, the Orthodox Church. In a halting sort of fashion, she could say the prayers in the old language and from the old liturgy of the homeland. Her life reflected some of the patterns both of Scripture as a whole and of the life of Jesus. I'm seeing a confluence between the words of Jeremiah and the life of Margaret. How many of you have a vision of Margaret walking along the street? It was not aimless walking. She was face to face with her community, fully engaged in it. She was so often in conversation in the public square. Most visibly, she would do that on Remembrance Day. And we will remember that sacred recital that she took part in each year. She also did it by touching up her many friends and acquaintances on the streets, as we've heard, and here in the Legion, and at the Blood Donor Clinic, all for contributions to charities that could help make a healthier world. Build houses, plant gardens, get married, and have a family, as Jeremiah said it, but seek the welfare of the city where I have sent you into exile, and pray to the Lord on its behalf for its welfare. You will find your welfare. A faithful spiritual life takes one down a road something like this. I guess it's appropriate if we admire Margaret, as we have done and will do. Of course, Margaret was human, and there's stuff we may not admire about her, and that's okay too. But then, this is something that takes us quite a bit beyond admiring. This life of Margaret's is worth not only admiring, but emulating. By this sort of a lifestyle, we seek the welfare of the community in which we live. The sad part of it all is that Margaret is not here to do that anymore. The happy part is that we are. We've seen this behavior modeled. Grieving will be with us for a season. When it comes time to pick up the tools of onward life again, it would be good for us to remember all that we have learned from her. She taught by how she walked a faithful life, We're richer for having walked along with her. That won't be very obvious until we pick up the beat. Margaret left behind a stronger and more vibrant community. Amen, he said, for all of you who have loved her. By that turn in behavior, we will remember her for a very long time. I'll ask that you join with me again in prayer, and at the conclusion we'll say together the Lord's Prayer, in keeping with Margaret's request. It's a 400-year-old version of it, but if you're with it, join in when that time comes. Let's pray together. Eternal God, you are always near us. Help us to come close to you, unafraid that anything can separate us. In this and in every moment, help us know your friendship. You arrange us in families and give us friends for companionship. We acknowledge our gratitude for Margaret and are thankful for the love and friendship we have shared with her. In a harsh world, she was able to buy a house, love passionately her country, to see to the health of her family and her community, and to lead us all in meaningful remembrance. Thank you for such a gift as this treasured human being. Now, today, we bring her back to you. We return Margaret to her Maker and Creator. Comfort us, we pray, by strengthening our sensitivity to comfort one another. We pray under the influence of Jesus, who taught us to pray together, saying, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. We've almost come to an end of the ceremony today. Following it, there will be a reception off in this direction, to which you are all invited. At this moment, I ask you to stand for the committal of the conference. Who were able to be committed. Let us entrust our sister Margaret to the mercy of God, our Maker and Redeemer. In the hope of resurrection, we release her to the mercies of Almighty God, and we commit her body to the elements, earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Jesus said, I am the resurrection and the life. I quote now from the liturgy of the Orthodox Church. Christ is risen from the dead, trampling down death by death, and giving life to those in the grave. Let us pray. O Lord, support us all the day long of this troublous life, until the shadows lengthen and the evening comes, the busy world is hushed, the fever of life is over, and our work done. Then, Lord, in your mercy, grant us safe lodging, a holy rest, and peace at the last, through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Now a blessing. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord be kind and gracious to you. The Lord look upon you with favor and give you peace. Amen. The Legion ritual now begins, including the last post, the act of remembrance, the laying of coffees by the honor guard, and all are invited to do so as well.
Those in prep, we do so standing. We assemble today to solemnly remember and pay our respects to the life of our comrade Margaret, whose death we mourn, but whose spirit still lives. May we, as citizens and members of the Royal Canadian Legion, be charged anew with a full sense of our duties and responsibilities for our country and our organization. May we ever strive to uphold the principles of unselfish service, which led us to serve our God and our country in time of war and in peace, so that we may continue to serve even unto death. God, remember before you those who laid down their lives for freedom and truth. We commend their souls in your gracious keeping and pray that we may be worthy of their sacrifice. Help us to be faithful and true to those ideals for which they fought and died. May we continue to perpetuate the memory of our departed comrades by our service to country, community, and comrades. And remembering our solemn obligations, may we ever pray, Lord God of the hosts, be with us yet, lest we forget, lest we forget. the shoulder shall grow not old, as we grow left grow old. Age not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. We will remember them. Our Heavenly Father, grant, we beseech you, to the loved ones of our departed comrades, your comfort and protection. Amen. Honor guard, may now lay your poppies. Honor guard remain standing. All others, please be seated. We will now call the ex-service women to lay their father. Are there any other Legion members, family, or friends wishing to weigh a hobby to meet you somehow?